Welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson, Aurelio Martinez. We're going to talk about this past weekend's boxing action. We actually had a good, solid weekend of boxing for everyone to enjoy. I'm sure everyone that got the chance to see it will agree. And for those that didn't get a chance to see it, that's why we're here. We're going to talk and fill you in on it. First up, Aurelio, Friday night. We had a Don King heavyweight action where we had Derek Rossi taking on Trevor Bryan and at the Hotel in Las Vegas. And I know you got a chance to see that fight. Unfortunately, I didn't. But so I'm going to defer to you. But let's tell us about that fight.
You know what the fight was. It was actually all right. Given the fact that the status of our heavyweights in the United States. The card was it was boring, but it was enough to keep you watching. Okay, which is okay because we've got to do something about the heavyweights. And Derek Rossi and Trevor, they actually mixed it up. They fought. There was really never a threat of anyone being knocked out that you're accustomed to with the big boys in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was good. I mean, obviously, Derek Rossi, I believe he's 30-9. Now he's 30-10.
Mm-hmm.
He was coming in to try to fix things up and kind of make a name for himself while Trevor himself was trying to climb up the ladder and get into the limelight. Not sure any of them two happened, but it was a pretty decent fight, So it was if you were home, it was well worth watching.
Okay, and now just to go back on it a little bit, Derek Rossi, as far as you're concerned, his gatekeeper status is intact.
It's intact. I mean, he won't.
Did he push Trevor Bryan at all?
He was active. He was active. I don't know if he can get into the ring with your top contenders.
Okay.
And stay the duration of the fight. I think the top contenders would really put a little muscle on him and stop him rather quickly. So. Okay.
Well, you know what? Now that you say that, that actually worked out for the best because I don't know if we could have handled 2 nights back to back of great solid action because on Saturday, as you all know, there was nothing that you had to worry about on ESPN where we had that the headliner, the main event was Abner and Leo Santa Cruz, and that was for I believe the IBF. No, that was for the WBA World Super Featherweight title.
Good fight.
Yeah,
Good fight.
And that was at the Staples Center in LA. And Lilo, I'll let you talk about that fight first because I'm going to talk about a couple of things different on the fight. But let's talk about the fight itself. What did you think?
Well, you know what? It was great. You had 2 Mexican warriors that went into the ring, and before the fight, Mars was talking a little big chested.
Yes, he was.
Not so much talking shit, but he was big chested. Like this is just another fight for me. I'm not going to lose this fight. He was asked. He was asked. That many people were thinking this could possibly be fight of the year, and asked him how he saw it, and his response was,
"It's just another fight.
I don't want it to be the fight of the year. I'm gonna go in there and make it an easy fight for me." He goes, "I don't want to work hard." So obviously the two had a little back knowledge of each other. I guess they've sparred before. One helping the other in preparation for a fight, and even back then. Mars was saying, well, he's not on my level. He's not on my level. Well, exciting fight. They went toe to toe. In the beginning of the fight, they actually Mars actually came in and had a pretty good tactic. He came in and kept the fight close. He
went right after him.
Right after him, kept the fight close. Didn't let Santa Cruz. Use any of his leverage, his distance, because Mars was right on there and he was throwing punches and scoring well. So the first half of the fight, I think Mars did rather well and did enough to win most of the early rounds. So of course you and I both know it changed. Once Santa Cruz started to get into his groove and started to use his leverage and started to do his timing started coming back, the entire game changed and the complex of the fight changed, and you can see who looked like the experienced, better suited fighter, where Mars couldn't change and he couldn't keep up the tempo that he was doing.
Exactly.
And he actually looked like the lesser fighter when it came to experience and skills. So, in the end, the right person won the fight. Yeah.
Well, I'll disagree on that. I don't think that, in my opinion, I didn't think that Abner looked like he was the lesser fighter. I think it was that, exactly what you said earlier. Could he keep up that pace for 12 rounds? No, he couldn't. And once he couldn't keep up that pace, Santa Cruz used his length. Because he was long and long, you know?
Yeah.
And then he started, and you know what? I have to say this because I was impressed with Abner. Abner got hit with some bombs.
Yeah.
And his experience there was he knew when to hold, he made the referee get in there and do his job, what he's supposed to, and he regrouped and came back. I don't think that Abner thought that he won the fight, and I know there are a lot of people that thought that Abner won the fight.
Sure, the crowd was 50-50. I mean,
and that was good.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sure some of you will agree with me. After the first round, I had to turn the volume off. I couldn't listen Alelo. I couldn't listen to Teddy Atlas anymore. Teddy Atlas he gets on my nerves now. I'm trying to watch the fight. And he's over here trying to analyze every little thing. Sometimes it's good just to shut up, Teddy, and just let everybody watch the fight because we can see. And like I said, this was a good fight, good solid fight.
Teddy Atlas tends to flap them lips a little too much, okay? And he does. And the problem is it's okay to commentate because Teddy has a lot of knowledge, okay? Mm-hmm. The problem with Teddy is he cannot accept anyone else's views. Mm-hmm. And he has to be the head honcho. He has to be right all the time. And as you know, this is boxing. There isn't anyone out there that's right all the time.
Exactly.
But don't tell Teddy that. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's why it gets a little irritating. But you just have to be able to listen to him and let it roll off and enjoy the fight.
I couldn't do that last night because the crowd, like you said, the crowd was wild. The atmosphere, and we'll talk about this in our second episode. The atmosphere from the co-main event had everyone wound up. And like you said, Abner Maris did not let that get away. Yeah. As soon as that first round bell rang, he came right out there and jumped on Leo. I think he shocked Leo a little bit. I don't think Leo was ready for that.
Well, I was watching it with a few of our fighters, in our stable and things, and I was amazed because he came out with the right tactics, and I was equally amazed at how Santa Cruz could not adapt. Didn't have an answer for that. He was like you say, he was surprised that he didn't have an answer. And like you say, it wasn't until Abner started to slow down that Santa Cruz took over. So bottom line is, I think Santa Cruz grew up an awful lot in this fight.
And you make a good point when you say he grew up because Santa Cruz. We know that in the audience there watching that fight was Lee Selby from Wales. Lee Selby has been campaigning for the last year, wanting to get a shot at some of the top guys in the featherweight and the super featherweight division. And since Gary Russell Jr., Jesus Cuellar, Carl Frampton, all these guys with Selby, they're all Al Heyman guys. So this should give us some good featherweight action, from the Premier Boxing Channel, the PBC. Okay. I'm looking forward to that, Aurelio. Okay, we'll see what happens.
Real quick, we got a little over a minute. Let's go on to the Mosley. We did have another fight.
We got the undercard.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Let's do that because Mosley, we're going to have to give him a little bit of action here because there was more than that fight on that card, remember. Real quickly, the undercard, Hugo Ruiz and Julio Ceja, and that was for the vacant WBC interim junior featherweight belt. That's the one that Leo Santa Cruz vacated so that he could have this fight with Abner Maris. Excellent fight action. Excellent fight action. Ruiz would actually drop Ceja. I think it was the third round.
That's right.
And we thought it might be over then. No, Ceja came back. And Ceja's 22 years old. Ruiz is 28. So you thought that it had been just the opposite. But this kid, Ceja, man, determined, very, very charismatic. This is a kid that I think we really have to keep your eyes on because he showed everything. And to come back from what looked like a devastating knockdown. When he got knocked down, he was hurt bad. This kid came back.
The key there is Ruiz did not know how to finish the job.
Exactly.
He went in there and kind of went ballistic, which is not always what you want to do. So all he ended up doing was actually getting himself tired, and the proof was after that round. Then the very next round, it was like, whoa, he slowed down. He had to slow down because he knew he was getting winded and he was getting tired, and of course that was his mistake. When he slowed down, he allowed Saya to come back, regroup, and Saya says, okay, well, he couldn't finish the job, and Saya just kept pressing and kept pressing and kept pressing, and then he landed that beautiful left hook. I mean, and guess what? He did know how to finish the fight.
Yes, he did.
He did
now, real quick, before we move on to our next episode, Leo Santa Cruz is in the driver's seat, Aurelio, because now he's the super featherweight champ. He can come back down and fight Saya if he wants to for the featherweight title. He's got a lot of options, and so Leo Santa Cruz right now is in the driver's seat, but Saya and Hugo also, Ruiz, he's not out of the mix. I mean, this guy's right in there too, and we'll see what happens. But we're moving on to our next episode where we'll be back and we're going to talk about the other fight on Saturday night.
That's right.
We're pay-per-view, Shane Mosley, Ricardo Mayorga, undercard. We'll be right back. And as usual, when we end this segment, how is the radio?
Keep them hands up.
Keep them up, baby.